Hello, everyone. Good morning. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday, and welcome to yet another episode of Superstar Sundays from the Abdominal Wall Reconstruction Surgeons community. We've been doing this for the last 3 to 4 months with various stalwarts across the world, with also a couple of stalwarts as moderators. So it's my pleasure to introduce today's session moderators, a very good friend of mine, Dr. Prem Kumar Balachandran, who's the head of the Apollo Institutes of Abdominal Wall Reconstruction and a senior consultant at Apollo Hospital, Chennai. And it's also my pleasure to introduce a dear friend from Israel, Professor Daniel Rosen, who heads the ambulatory surgery department at Sheba Medical Center in Israel. Thank you so much for taking time out, both of you, on a Sunday morning and coming in and helping us out moderate this session. I would like to hand it over to you both to moderate the session and introduce the speaker and the topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Deepak. So it is my great privilege to introduce our speaker, Professor Dr. Desarda Mohan. He is an ex-professor of surgery and the chief of the Hernia Center at Pune Hospital and Research Center. His interests are in research and in development in different types of external hernias. And as we all know, he has developed the technique of tension-free, mesh-free abdominal wall hernia repair, which is globally now called as the Desarda Repair. His operation technique is followed in many countries, now all around the globe. Till recently, he was consultant to many companies and organizations. He is a national scholar and winner of many gold medals and prizes for his brilliant academic career. He has been awarded many honors by medical institutions, social, political, and government. Over to you, sir. Please, the floor is yours.
Good morning to you all. I am thankful to Dr. Kanagavel, Dr. Deepak Subramanian, all organizing committee members of AWRSC, and of course, moderator Dr. Daniel Rosen, for giving me this opportunity. I am also thankful to you all for giving me this opportunity to tell you something new which is not discussed over last century, and also to explain to you about our entirely new concepts published by us that prevents hernia formation or the hernia recurrence after surgery, and also our new operation technique based on those new concepts. Let us start with misconceptions present in your mind for more than 100 years. You all feel that transversalis fascia is present in the posterior wall of the inguinal canal and its strength protects from the recurrences. This is not true. The posterior wall is formed by the aponeurotic extensions from the transverse abdominis muscle. Transversalis fascia lays behind this and is papery thin without any strength. Aponeurotic extensions give physiologically dynamic protection as against the static protection given by mesh in hernia repairs. Inguinal hernia formation can take place only if these aponeurotic extensions are absent or deficient, and this is genetically determined. Let us see these pictures. The first picture is of a normal man without hernia. See, this floor is fully protected by aponeurotic extensions cover, so there is no hernia. These are actual operative pictures. The second picture is of a normal man with hernia. Half of the floor is protected, but remaining half shows defect in this cover, so hernia formation took place through this defect. So which is the ideal operation technique? Obviously that which replaces the defective or absent aponeurotic extensions in the posterior wall, and that is exactly what is done in our operation technique, a revolution in hernia surgery. An undetached strip of external oblique is transferred to become a new posterior wall of the inguinal canal, a muscle transfer technique. This new wall is physiologically dynamic and strong, just as seen in any normal man without hernia. What about mesh repair? You all know that mesh is not 100% safe to body for its routine use in all the cases because it is a foreign body. Lap repair carry higher risk and requires extreme skills, and complications are also more serious. Many patients' life worldwide might be getting affected by unscrupulous use of endoscopes by inadequately trained surgeons. Imagine the fate of millions of patients operated in remote places by many surgeons with low quality mesh without any standards. Mesh repair became popular because of the perfect marketing at all levels and by all means by those companies. See this operative picture. Mesh is directly sprayed on the vas and testicular vessels. Naturally, it is bound to cause fibrosis in that area. Do we need to change from mesh repair to this repair now? My answer is yes, because it is simple and safe to do operation even in the hands of junior surgeons with good results. Does not use foreign body or weak muscles and fascia for repair. Early ambulation without much pain. Patient goes back to home in a day and back to his work within a week. You repair hernia with continuous absorbable sutures, a thing never imagined. It is physiological, tension-free and mesh-free with the lowest rate of complications. It can be done on outdoor basis under local anesthesia and with fast recovery. It removes disadvantages of both foreign body as seen with mesh and tension as seen with other pure tissue repairs. More than 300 presentations or publications and many RCTs are conducted on this repair. The results shown are similar or superior. Many textbooks like Love and Bailey, Schwartz, etc. have mentioned this technique. On this background, my operation technique, no mesh, inguinal hernia repair with continuous absorbed sutures based on physiological principle. See this groin incision is taken to open up the inguinal canal. External oblique aponeurosis is seen. This is cut open to open up the inguinal canal. Inguinal canal is open and the artery forceps is showing the posterior wall of the inguinal canal, which is absolutely flabby and loose. Now, upper leaf of the external oblique aponeurosis is sutured to the inguinal ligament throughout its length, and then an incision is taken in this sutured upper leaf to separate a strip. This strip is separated, lower border of it is sutured to the inguinal ligament. Now upper border will be sutured to the muscle arch. See, this upper border is sutured to the muscle arch muscles. Thus posterior wall, new posterior wall is prepared from the external oblique aponeurosis strip. Spermatic cord is kept in its own place and newly formed upper leaf and lower leaf of external oblique aponeurosis are sutured in front of the spermatic cord as usual again. Operation is complete. How protection is given? We postulated that physiologically dynamic and elastic posterior wall gives better protection than a simple rigid anatomical wall. Mesh repair gives anatomically rigid wall, which is relaxed at rest, but whenever there is blow, in action also it remains relaxed. Whereas in my repair, it gives elastic physiological wall which is relaxed at rest, but during blower action, it turns or springs into a shield to give active protection. See, this is actual operative picture which shows dynamic action of the posterior wall in my repair. That is stripped in situ. That is internal oblique muscle again. That shows contraction. And the strip goes into tension because of contraction of the internal oblique muscle and the external oblique muscle. Internal oblique muscle, which was not active before, now has become fairly active. It is pulling the strip upwards and laterally along with the external oblique muscle. Protection is zero on day one in mesh repairs, and then slowly and gradually it goes on increasing over a period of years. Whereas in my repair, protection is 100% on day one itself. This is very, very important. We have done a review study of global data of 35,578 patients, and the data was analyzed. It revealed that recurrence rate seen in Desarda was 0.87% and in mesh and others 5.6%. Chronic groin pain in Desarda 1.8% and mesh and others 22.5%. Complications rate in Desarda 6.8% and mesh and others 20.6%. Free mobility was seen in 37 hours in Desarda and 77 hours in mesh and others. Return to normal work was seen 10 days in Desarda and 16 days in mesh and others. This difference is statistically very, very significant. Status today. We are the first to put before the world that inguinal hernia must be repaired on physiological principle. We are the first to scrap century-old theory of transversalis fascia and publish new theory of aponeurotic extensions. We are the first to give you a very simple hernia repair that does not use foreign body, complex dissection, or costly equipments. We are the first to use continuous all absorbable sutures inside. We are the first to give you a very low recurrence and complication rates even in the hands of junior surgeons. So now you decide whether to shift from other repairs to Desarda repair or not. Are among 7 companies facing more than 70,000 mesh injury lawsuits in federal court and thousands of additional cases in state courts of USA. Therefore, I suggest every surgeon should now take an informed consent in writing from the patient to avoid the court litigation in future following mesh complications after mesh repair, because you are implanting a foreign material inside the body of the patient. Now I request you to watch our step-by-step teaching operation video. Now we present to you our live video of operation technique of mesh-free Desarda repair. You can watch this video on our regular website also, www.desarda.com. This external oblique aponeurosis is exposed as usual. Here one point is important, there is always a filmy layer covering the external oblique aponeurosis. You should try to preserve this filmy layer on this aponeurosis as far as possible, but it's not a must. Even if you, while dissecting, even if you take out this filmy layer above that, doesn't matter, but try to preserve that filmy layer because it keeps these fibers of the aponeurosis close together. It doesn't allow separation. Then a regular incision is taken in this knife on this, but then before that you have to see the fiber separation or the weakness of any part of this external oblique aponeurosis. I can find this external oblique aponeurosis is absolutely okay over here. So I am just taking an incision on the top of the swelling, okay? Scissor.
Okay.
Now this should be continued to break open the ring over there. Let us see, this is the nerve is there, you have to protect the nerve. Retract behind. I have gone behind to expose the arcuate fibers. Now this upper leaf of the oblique aponeurosis is undermined from behind. You should undermine for at least 2 inches or do it as much as possible. And then continue dissection medially. This. See this, continue dissection medially till it is inserted on the pubic symphysis. Lower leaf is being separated from the inguinal canal. Hold it. See, this is the inguinal ligament, and this is the, can you see it? This is the pubic tubercle or the pubic symphysis. And this one important structure is there, external spermatic vessels. Okay.
It looked like
See this cord, yeah, it's a direct hernia. Spermatic cord is separated. Ilioinguinal nerve is well maintained. You see this is the ilioinguinal nerve. Here. Now I'm just going laterally up to the inferior epigastric vessels. You can beautifully see I am now taking a suture from tubercle to the internal ring. I'll just show how the first stitch is taken. See, this is pubic tubercle. Can you see that? It's very clear. This is pubic tubercle. Though I have written in my operation notes that you should start from the pubic tubercle, you should never take stitch through the pubic tubercle. Rather, you should take a first stitch through the lacunar ligament. Or if you can't identify the lacunar ligament, just take a medialmost part of the inguinal ligament. See this? And always test the strength like this, pulling it. See, I'm pulling it out to see the strength of that. Now here again, see, always there is a cover of the fat in this medialmost part of the upper leaf. Some doctors, sometimes by mistake, they suture the fat, and they don't suture the aponeurotic part. So you have to be very careful over here, because I found that in one surgeon from Korea, he is doing these operations for last 10 years, and he had one recurrence. Then I just tried to evaluate why there was a recurrence, and then this was the reason. Sister, can you give me a little smaller needle holder? Now see, upper leaf is sutured to the inguinal ligament. I always say that stitch stays over there. See this? Stitch stays over there. It means there is no tension. Can I have another one? Smaller one? So, for the first time, we have advised absorbable suture, and for the first time, we have advised continuous suture. Don't cut. Follow this. This is continuous suturing. It's very simple. See, with this index finger, you retract or protect the vessels. This is inguinal ligament. This is the upper leaf. He is lifting up so that inguinal ligament stands up. You have to lift it up. So the inguinal ligament stands up. You can take this part little bit so that it gets fused together properly. You need not take also. Posterior, that is a pseudo fascia. There is never transversalis fascia over there. What you see is posterior lamina covering the fat or the pseudo fascia. This is internal ring is to be sufficiently narrowed. That is very important. That's
Okay.
yeah. You see, this is. I think this should be the last stitch. You need not go further, so that it is sufficiently narrowed. Internal ring is sufficiently narrowed. Right. Wait. This lateralization of the spermatic cord is not really lateralization. It is we are bringing this spermatic cord back to its normal position, which otherwise had got shifted medially due to herniation process.
Are you looking for indirect hernia set?
Yeah, if he has got indirect, procedure remains same. Put it here. Second step is we take an incision through this sutured upper leaf.
Thank you.
Now this incision is taken in such a way that you prepare a strip of 1 to 2 centimeters wide only. Then go medially till you should always go parallel to the inguinal ligament. This is how I am going parallel to the inguinal ligament. Then laterally you extend this incision for 1 or 2 centimeters beyond the internal ring. This is the internal ring and this is the 1 or 2 centimeters beyond. Now you will find the strip is separated. This is the strip, artiforceps. You see, this is the strip, okay? Lower border of the strip is already sutured to the inguinal ligament. Now this upper border will be sutured to the muscle arch. Again with PDS, absorbable number 1 suture. Here, you should take as far as possible aponeurotic part of the muscle. But if aponeurotic part is not available, it is not seen in this patient, you can use muscle only, direct muscle.
Das war ein bisschen
Follow.
unbequem.
Again continues. Yeah, we are waiting for you to come back.
Mr.
And
Desarda, we are again with you.
oh, that's fantastic. You see, now I have prepared the posterior wall. You can see this. This is the lower suture line, this is the upper suture line, and this is the aponeurotic strip, which is continuous with the muscle. In fact, if it was local anesthesia, then I would have asked patient to cuff on operation table to show that this strip is physiologically dynamic. Means smaller the cuff, smaller is the contraction, larger the cuff, larger is the contraction. That is how this, I have prepared a physiologically dynamic and strong strip to give complete cure from herniation. Operation is actually complete. I was waiting for you to come back. This cord is placed in its own place again, and the lower leaf and the upper leaf are sutured in front as usual. I have put the cord in its own place. Now this is the lower leaf. Hold it, another artiforceps. And this is newly formed upper leaf. I'll just show you. This is the newly formed upper leaf. Got it? This lower leaf corner and this upper leaf corner will be sutured together. In front of.
Have you ever had problems to close this?
No.
Very
If you.
fat people or something like this.
Yeah, maybe, but then if you follow this procedure completely, undermining of the upper leaf properly from above and behind, and not to take and one more thing, which in this patient I didn't show you, but then there are adhesions over here, see in the groin. If you release those adhesions, this, you got it now? It becomes free. Always use PDS, 1 number absorbable suture. 1 packet is sufficient to complete the operation. So you save one packet of suture material also in each patient.
Okay. It looks very nice. It looks very nice. Any questions?
Now this will be continued till superficial, leave it. Forceps.
There was a question from the audience.
Yeah, what's that?
Did you really check the spermatic cord for an indirect hernia?
No, yeah, in indirect hernia, you have to do herniatomy as usual. Herniatomy you have to do as usual. Rest everything is same. The steps of this operation are same, whether it's direct hernia, indirect hernia, pantaloons hernia, recurrent hernia, or any hernia that requires repair. Steps are fixed.
Okay. Any hernia.
Dann können wir das ja als Abschluss.
Dr. Desarda,
Yeah?
thank you very much. We will change to Ms. Kraft and then go to Potro.
Danke, danke.
These are some of the pictures of my international visits as guest lecturers. In this photograph, I am seen with Dr. Sholdais, Chief of Sholdais Hospital, and pure tissue repair famous surgeon from Canada. We all stayed together in Hotel Milan during First World Hernia Conference held in Italy.
Thank you.
Shitil, you can stop sharing the screen and I'll let Dr. Danny Rosen and Dr. Prem Kumar take over.
Thank you very much, Dr. Desarda. It was very interesting. And I've been following this technique for a few years already since you started to publish it and spread the word. It's very interesting and I think unique, first of all, in returning to tissue repair, and then the way you actually do an effort to spread your message. And I think many people around the globe now are familiar with this technique. You are quite unique in having a eponym on this procedure. Not many surgeons have the privilege to have that. I think the most important question is, of course, in hernia surgery is the outcome. And we would like to hear from you a little bit about long-term outcome. We have been taught about primary mesh-free repair for many years. There are many techniques, and we know that in general, the recurrence rate is not so low, but most of the cases do well. And even here, we have to wait for a long time to see the actual outcome, because we know that some of the recurrences after primary tissue repair come many years after the surgery itself. Unlike mesh repair, which may be some technical issues and early recurrence, in properly done tissue repair, sometimes it holds for years and then it gives way because the tissue becomes weaker and it doesn't really hold as mesh for life. Do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rosen. Danny. See, this is usually the question which is asked by many people. The first of all, Bassini and Sholdais, pure tissue repair operations which were being followed all over the world for many years, did show a very small recurrence rates in the hands of Bassini and Sholdais. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
But then what happened when it spread it to general surgeons? their first step of operation was to clear the inguinal floor completely to the extent that bare pubic ramus and inferior vessels are seen. Nobody does that complicated dissection. So they all omitted this first step of the operation. So naturally, it became a modified bassini or modified shoulders. And naturally, it showed very low, very high rate of recurrence. Secondly, the muscles they weaker, so they cannot be used. But they were using same muscle. Similarly, when these muscles are shifted down, sutured to the leg, displaced from the leg, and also the tension is created on suture line. So these are the major drawbacks of these operations. My operation technique is based on entirely different principle. It is a muscle transfer technique, wherein I preserve the physiological property of the posterior wall of the inguinal canal, which is present in all normal individuals. Secondly, external oblique aponeurosis goes never weak. It is an aponeurotic structure. Muscles, they go weak, but aponeurotic structure will never go weak as per your age or anything, unless until there is some co-pathology. So in that case, if we remove a strip from the external oblique aponeurosis and transfer it to become a posterior wall, it becomes a natural inguinal canal. I have already shown you the pictures of a normal individual where the posterior wall is formed by the aponeurotic extensions and not by the transversalis fascia. And these aponeurotic extensions, they give the real protection from hernia occurrence and hernia recurrence. So in such incidences, I already stated in one of my slide, the ideal operation will be to replace the absent or defective aponeurotic extensions with new aponeurotic structure. That is exactly what is done in my operation technique. So naturally, the results are extremely good. And I am not saying this, and I am not insisting that you should praise my operation technique. It is you all people who have published almost more than 300 research articles, including more than 80 RCTs and 50 individual studies, having 35,578 patients' data, which was analyzed by me, and the results were shown in one slide. I think that is sufficient to show the strength of this repair. I am not against mesh repair, Dr. Danny, remember that.
Professor Desarda.
But then remember, mesh is after all a foreign body. It is bound to cause some complication, morbidity, etc. Now we are shifted our campaign from mesh repair to laparoscopic repair. In between era was there where everywhere there were articles and there were seminars and everything on the laparoscopic repair. And now everyone is talking about robotic repair. No, in whose interest we are all doing all those things? Each patient is going to get benefited? I don't think so, because in my operation technique, I have proved beyond doubt, not me, but many other surgeons have proved beyond doubt that results seen in the Desarda repair are equivalent or superior to mesh repair. Otherwise, forget about it, okay?
Professor Desarda, we've got a few questions.
Yes, sure.
Professor Arun Kapoor and Sanjay Sonar have a similar question, that if the external oblique fascia is not of good quality, particularly in older patients, is this technique still okay? And is this procedure indicated in recurrent hernia?
Correct. Yeah. Second question I'll ask later on. First question is again asked by many participants of my lectures and all those things. See, I have already stated that the external oblique aponeurosis never goes weak. Then what you see in the operation field, which you feel is the weakened external oblique aponeurosis. Usually this situation arises when there is a larger hernias. And when the hernia becomes larger, naturally it prouds out through the superficial ring. And when it comes out of the superficial ring, it puts pressure on its upper leaf, upper crux and lower crux. And this upper crux and lower crux, they tear at the apex. So the upper leaf remains intact, lower leaf remains intact. Only thing is superficial inguinal ring is torn at the apex and the aponeurotic structure is intact. So what you see in between is not really external oblique aponeurosis, but is transversal fascia. Or pseudo, not transversal, sorry. It is pseudo fascia. That we wrongly label as the weakened external oblique aponeurosis. So in such cases, what should you do? After herniatomy is done, everything is finished, you come to repair, that upper lip becomes entire upper crux in large hernia. You understand? You understood
Noted,
what
sir.
I'm
Noted,
saying?
yes.
Yeah. So upper lip, upper crux becomes the entire upper lip, and lower crux becomes the entire lower lip. So that is suture as usual, as per my steps of the operation. And you get excellent results. I have operated on coconut-sized hernias as well. Not me, many other people also. They have published their articles on large hernias also with excellent results. So this first question of external oblique aponeurosis, if it's weak, then my technique cannot be used, is a mispropaganda done by somebody with some interest. Secondly, recurrences. If the recurrences are because of basin and shoulders, pure tissue repair, where the fibrosis is minimum, then my operation technique can be easily repeated because there is hardly any fibrosis. Recurrences following mesh repair can also be done by my repair if you can see external oblique aponeurosis is fairly maintained and not grossly damaged. You know, mesh causes horrible damages inside. I think it will be wrong or right, I don't know. But if I comment here, all those laparoscopic repairs and robotic repairs, why at all are required in hernias? When hernia is just a subcutaneous structure. Why do you want to put your patient in more risk by putting your laparoscope, etc., inside the abdomen? It means, is it the era that we are treating our patients as our guinea pigs? Certainly not. Well, laparoscopic repair is a boon, remember that. Then robotic repair is also a boon, but for which cases? Cholecystectomies, difficult operations inside intra-abdominal or other difficult cases. But whereas the hernia will be just subcutaneous, external hernias. I am not talking of internal hernias. Internal hernias, you can always use your laparoscope. These are the best. Okay. So in recurrence also, you can use provided the external oblique aponeurosis or inguinal canal anatomy is not much damaged by the previous mesh repair. But that can be certainly used in any other tissue, pure tissue repairs. I hope everyone are happy with the answer.
Yes. Point well noted, sir. We also have some senior members of the AWR, like Rajesh Srivastav, Rahul Mahadar, Kadagavel, sir.
Yeah,
we get some opinions from them, sir, please. Some comments from all of you, please.
Desarda sir, do you remember me? You were in Daman. Desarda sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, I'm Dr. Rajesh Srivastav. Hope you remember Daman.
From Daman.
Daman, you remember your workshop, first workshop when you are young?
Yes, I remember. But you were the organizer or you were the participant?
I was the organizer, sir. I was the organizer.
I remember. I don't mind it if I comment here. When I said that when my operation technique is very superior, will give almost recurrence-free repair, everybody in the auditorium laughed at me. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yes, sir. That's why I commented that. But sir, in your hands, when you will use mesh?
Mesh? I have never used mesh. In inguinal hernias, I have never used mesh because suppose all the structures there are very weak. For example, external oblique aponeurosis also, some fiber separation of fibrous is there, or some weakness due to some pathology is there. Even if you suture a weakened aponeurosis, but it is able to hold the sutures, that will give much better protection from hernia recurrences than mesh. And that too from day one itself. From day one itself. Whereas mesh won't give you protection from day one. It will give real protection. I hope you understand. Fibrotic process is an important part of the protection. And you can't avoid fibrosis. And fibrosis to develop strength takes 2 to 3 years. It means practically, your patients are not really 100% protected for 2 to 3 years. Whereas I am giving operation technique which gives your patient 100% protection on day one itself. What else you want?
Dr. Rahul Mahadar, any comments? Dr. Rahul? Or Dr. Vishaka, you want to say anything?
Yes, I have two questions for sir. Do these patients forthcomingly come to you saying they do not want a mesh repair? And second is, what is the counseling that you do to patients who come to your OPD saying why not to use a mesh? Because now everywhere, anywhere, people will say use a mesh. So what do you put forth as?
Remember one thing. Now 98% of the patients, they are aware because of our campaign all over the world through last 10-15 years that mesh is a simple piece of cloth. You are not aware of all those things because you are in the ocean of mesh. You come out of the ocean of the mesh and you will find there is another ocean where there are complaints and complaints and complaints and complaints, and they are approaching us. Sir, we want Desarda Repair. Now I have got doctors who are operating by our technique in almost every country. But then only thing is, I cannot make advertisement of my technique because I don't have funds like companies. More and more advertisement, more and more leading doctors I can hire. I'm sorry to say that word. But then, for example, if I give them foreign tour expenses and all those things, I can definitely send my leading doctors to hammer on to the mind of the trainee doctors that how mesh repair is the best. Please come out unbiased. We are all working throughout our life for the patient's interest. Patient interest is the prime of any surgeon. So you have to come unbiased and see which is best for your patient. If mesh is best, go ahead. I have no grudge. Whatever mighty God wanted to do in my lifetime, I have done it. Now it is up to you people to use it or not to use it. You got it, Miss?
So we got a few more questions.
Yes.
One question from Amarav Sini. Any comparative studies done for recurrence in Desarda's technique and mesh repair?
Right.
Any comparative studies have been done, sir?
Yes. Not only me, there are many surgeons across the globe, even from Israel and Egypt, there are many surgeons who have already done all those studies. I have collected data, whatever was possible for me. In that, I found 80 RCTs and 50 comparative studies. This is a huge this thing. And the data was collected from these articles, and then that data was analyzed in a systematic way, and that was published. I have given that link also of my article published. You are requested to please go through that article, and you will find the difference. Not only me, I found there are 7 other surgeons in the world who did review study of my operation technique versus laparoscopic and versus open mesh repair as well. I have given that data also.
Pradeep Mishra has got 2 questions.
Sure.
How would you deal with a mesh in a recurrent hernia following an open mesh repair?
I know. This is very difficult question.
I understand.
But if when patient comes to me, then I ask him to go to a general surgeon who is expert in mesh removing, rather than coming to me.
Do you try to remove it, or can you manage by leaving the mesh and still do a Desarda repair, going more medially to the fascia and transfer it as you do? Is it possible at all to leave the mesh inside?
It all
Because removing a mesh is a major task, and whenever we have like open mesh repair recurrence, we usually try to go to the other side and do it laparoscopically. We don't want to deal with this fibrosis, and we almost never remove the mesh unless there's a pain issue. So why would you try to remove the mesh? Can you have a tissue repair over the previous mesh?
May I ask you a question, dear Danny?
Sure.
Have you opened any mesh operated patient for resurgery or recurrent mesh repair for recurrence after mesh repair? Have you opened any inguinal canal?
If it's the previous mesh repair was open repair, I usually go.
Now I'll tell you, those who have opened, they will understand what I'm telling. When I cut the external oblique aponeurosis, I find no inguinal canal inside. Entire cremasteric muscle is gone. There are barely testicular arteries seen hanging here and there, with one single vein hanging here and there. Now you tell me, in such cases, are we really going to give him again repair and without salvaging the testes? That's why in such cases, I always ask patient to give me a consent that in these cases, if at all needed, I will do the orchidectomy. And when patient is ready for orchidectomy, if at all, not necessarily, but if at all required, we'll do orchidectomy. That condition, this thing, consent is taken, and then I proceed. Otherwise, straightway refuse these patients. Because we don't know, unless until we open, we don't know what mess is made by the mesh inside. Secondly, you recommend bilateral hernias. This is again a marketing magic for laparoscopic repairs. Bilateral hernia should be repaired laparoscopically. Now I have already shown how the mesh is spread on the vas and testicular vessels. So when both sided vas and testicular vessels are in contact with mesh, it is bound to cause fibrosis, whether you want it or you don't want it. I don't know the results collected by some. I have read some articles wherein they have written that many patients are suffering with atrophy of the testes and azoospermia or oligospermia and all those problems. In unilateral operation, this problem does not arise even if there is fibrosis of the testicular vessels, because another testis and another inguinal canal is intact. So you can't recognize whether it has done damage. But in bilateral, definitely you can study yourself. Take sperm count before operation and take sperm count every year after operation. In bilateral cases, I'm 100% sure that you will find oligospermia or azoospermia or testicular atrophy.
So before we close, just one final question. Is there any type of primary or recurrent groin hernia in which you would not recommend the Desarda repair?
Actually, I didn't find even a single patient where I could refuse. Yes, of course. If it is a second abdomen hernia, okay, you understand, second abdomen hernia, with very, very large hernia. I had one patient like that, and then I operated upon him. But then I had already given him a warning that this is not possible to do Desarda repair. But if possible, we'll do it. If it is without mesh, then always see, try to find out the structures. If they are well maintained, go ahead with Desarda repair, irrespective of the size of the hernia. Okay,
Well noted,
because
sir. Well noted.
usually size of the hernia, if you can reduce it back inside the abdomen, preoperatively or on the operation table, and do the herniatomy, and then you will find the spermatic cord is intact, external oblique aponeurosis is intact, upper and lower leaf are intact. What else you want? Please go ahead and do it. You will get excellent results.
Noted, sir.
Yeah.
Dr. Danny, any final comments
From me?
Dr. Danny?
I think
Dr. Danny, yes.
that what matters most is the outcome, of course, and you show a good outcome. Where we think about the biology of hernias and the collagen issues and whether patients with hernia have weaker tissue, and when you use the same tissue from the same patient with the collagen problem, you may expose him to higher risk of recurrence. But of course, as I said, what matters most is the outcome, and you show a very good outcome, and I congratulate you for your technique. Thank you very much.
Final comment. Dr. Prem Kumar, final
Yes,
comment.
yes, sir.
Since he mentioned pathological diseases, rather that collagen diseases, this is another phenomena which is brought in by companies through we doctors to impress that how mesh repair is the best.
Noted, sir.
But remember that these collagen diseases will affect your primary repairs, no doubt. But it will affect more to the mesh repairs, because the mesh repair success depends on the fibrosis.
Okay.
So naturally it is going to get affected.
Good point, sir.
So there is no point in favor of the mesh repairs, whether open mesh, laparoscopic mesh, or robotic mesh, as far as external hernias are concerned. I have already published operation technique for small and medium-sized umbilical or ventral hernias as well. I'll request you all stalwarts to please see that, read that article and see whether you can give justice to your patients by not inserting a foreign body in his body, because it is his body. If it is our body, we will definitely think 100 times.
Noted, sir. Well noted.
You can always communicate with me on telephone or through messaging or thing. I provide you all the articles. All the articles you can get, all those 300 articles you will get from our regular website. You will get everything for there.
Well, sir.
Step-by-step teaching videos as well as articles and everything. Recovery videos.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a wonderful session. I request our Joint Secretary, Professor Vishaka, to give the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Desarda. This was really enlightening for all of us, actually. I have seen a couple of videos of yours, because at Zen also we have had your lectures a couple of times. But I think if you could send us the papers, then we'll put it up on our group, so there'll be some more awareness about tissue repair techniques, which should be good for all the young residents as well. And thank you so much, Dr. Danny and Dr. Prem, and also all the EC and all the members from the AWRSC who've joined in. Thank you for sparing an hour on your precious Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you to Doc Plexus also. Thank you very much.